welcome to the Crafty View. I'm Diane Williams. I'm the host for the show, and I am really excited today. I'm not even going to tell you who my guest is. I want you to see her first. But she's demonstrating here at the Craftsmen's Guild, and that's what the members do. You know, they're asked to demonstrate at least once a year, and that helps bring awareness to tourism. It helps people kind of get to see hands-on that everything here has been handmade. And you can see I'm at the Guild, and there's the gallery behind me where people can go in and shop on Tuesdays through Saturdays. We're located at 950 Rice Road, and I hope that you'll come over here because there are some exquisite things in the gallery. Oh, thank you. So anyway, I'm going to introduce you to my guest. Well, here's Laurie Key. There's only one of them, not two keys, but Laurie Key. Hello, Laurie. How are you?
Fine. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I see that you're demonstrating here, and you have a nice table set up of all kinds of things. And I just want to take a glance at the piece that I'm hoping to get right here. I could see myself eating some Chinese food or something like that out of there. And I love the colors that you use and things like that, but I don't see your kiln here today, and I see you doing some things with your hands. So tell me, number one, how long have you been a member of the Craftsmen's Guild?
I believe this right at 7 years.
Okay, so you're...
I did my 6-year standards last year.
So you're getting real close to doing your standard again, which means reapplying and getting close to becoming a fellow. Has your work, has the process of going through the standards help you to improve your work each year?
Probably. I mean, it's just basically, though, I'll try to save better pieces so that I'll have them, because it's always a slow process doing pottery.
Oh.
And so if I want to be on time with them, then sometimes I'll hold back a piece that I think turned out especially nice and save it for standards.
Okay. How did you learn to do this?
It started in college. I didn't even think I wanted to take pottery. And then I found that I took it and I loved it, and I took 3 semesters at Mississippi College.
Oh, yeah, that's a great place to learn art.
I had Mr. Walsh for my teacher, Lewis Walsh.
Yes.
He was a lot of fun. He always told the girls they better wear their engagement rings on a necklace because he didn't want to hear them crying about losing their diamonds in the clay.
Oh, isn't that something?
Told us that if we got mud on our jeans, to just keep wearing them until they stood up before we washed them, because there was no point in washing them every time you got a little mud on them from the clay.
Oh, wow. And tell me, do you have children? I wonder, have you passed this down to your children or grandchildren or nieces or nephews?
I've got one son who is up in the Boston area and works for Intel. He loves computers. He's really good with it. And he's getting to work on a project there where he's working on the power management part of the chip.
Okay.
My daughter is in graduate school in Corpus Christi for Masters of Art, or Master in Art. I'm sorry, I'm messing this up, but she's going to get her master's in
We're going to come back to that thought, but her daughter's getting her master's.
Her master's in fine art.
Oh.
I had to get that right.
Yes.
I was messing it up.
Oh, no worries.
But she's at Texas A&M Corpus Christi doing a 3-year program. And she does big pieces.
Really?
Made out of swimming pool noodles and Easter eggs and all kinds of wire, all kinds of cool things.
Wow.
And you can see her art at ameliakey.com.
Okay, ameliakey.com. Thank you. Now tell me about your setup here today. You've got all kinds of things that you use as tools, and you're making me think about some things now that I could do. Everybody pay attention to this because there's some fun items here that I hadn't seen, like this blue item.
That is an old mimeograph tool. It's a little wheel that will turn and it will do texture.
Oh.
Japanese combs do interesting texture.
Yes.
I do several sheet mugs, and a lot of times I'll do sets of lines with some of these different combs because I've got several more at home, I hate to say.
And so you're doing some things there where I think you had to be creative. Oh no, it was shaped like that. Okay.
These have found at a couple of different shops on eBay, and I keep collecting them whenever they are available because there are a whole bunch of them right in there underneath. And then French embroidery, spools or stamps that can be used for rolling a border.
And what about this one? You were telling me about that.
That one, it was made to decorate Japanese roof tiles, and I got that on eBay from my favorite seller in Japan. I've bought several things from him.
Wow. And then some basics like this one here.
Yeah, because kids' toys make good pottery tools sometimes. Or and then he's one of my favorites.
Oh look, yes.
So
yes.
I find fun blocks from India and things from Japan and all kinds of fun stuff to work with. And this ring didn't fit me, but it made a great pottery tool.
Ah, hadn't thought about that either. Those gaudy rings.
Because and Japanese door handles, because they'll make interesting shapes.
Yes.
So.
This is great. So you have some clay that you've cut out from your base right over here, and that's a unique color. And then you've got, that looks like mud. What is it?
It is. It's slip. It's basically how you glue things together.
Okay, I got you.
Because
And
that
you
way
just
they'll stick.
kind of touch and rub until it blends.
I'll have to take a pen and score the parts that have to join together.
Yes.
And then put my lovely mud in there.
Okay.
And make sure it holds together. And it will be kind of rough when I get finished with it, and I'll have to wait until it's hardened up a little bit, and I can then trim it, and do some detailing on it, and then I'll usually go back and trim it a second time, and then sand it before it goes in the kiln for bisque firing.
Okay, and you have your own kiln at home?
I do. It's a fairly recent thing because I've had somebody else firing my stuff for like 8 years.
Really?
Because I've been doing pottery almost 9 years. And because I wanted to get back to it after college, and it took me more than 30 years to get back to it.
I bet you missed it.
I really did. And it was so nice. I feel like God just gave it back to me at the right time when I needed it most. And because I wouldn't have gone this direction either. My intention was to throw on the wheel. And when I started with a teacher in Dothan, Alabama, that is locally well known, and I rolled something out, and I went, wow, this was fun. And I started rolling things out more than throwing on the wheel.
So do you call this hand building?
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought I might want to learn hand building.
It's a lot of
It
fun.
just seems like you become one. And I thought that would be the case with the wheel, but when I used the wheel, me and the wheel didn't become one. The clay just was doing some things that I needed a lot more time to learn to become steady to do.
It has to get centered, or it won't do anything right on the wheel. And I did find that when I do things on the wheel and I have them upside down to trim them, it actually lowers blood pressure. I went upstairs one time, took blood pressure right after I'd been trimming, and I was going, oh wow, that's the best I've seen.
I like that idea, and I could get off my blood pressure
very
medicine.
Therapeutic.
I know, it's got to be. These pieces are fabulous. I love the earth tones. And, the other thing about the wheel is I feel like using the wheel, you have to try to be so perfect. And I love that you can make a bowl like this, and you just can make a groove in there so you can put your chopsticks.
Now you could do that with a bowl thrown on the wheel too.
I know,
you just
but
wait till it's leather hard, and then you can.
No, but
And you can do alterations, because I've seen all kinds of beautiful things that people have done when they've thrown it on the wheel, but then they've altered it to make it different.
Yes, yes. So you had your, the yellow piece here is what you used to measure.
My pattern.
Your pattern.
Because
Okay.
I thought, okay, I figured this out. I better make a pattern, because I won't ever get it right again if I don't.
Do you have a variety of patterns that you use?
Mostly I just cut and put together. You know, or lay it out flat, draw on it, or pattern it, and then put it together.
Okay.
Because it's easier that way for me to do it flat and then put it together than it is to put it together and then try to work on it.
And that's your rolling pin there?
This is my Steve Wyndham Wonder.
What do you call that?
Steve Wyndham is a member of the guild.
Oh,
also.
yes.
And he's got Mississippi Spoon on Etsy. And he did it custom for me, so he didn't round off the ends, so that I've got all of the length to roll my clay out with.
Okay.
So.
And then I see this right here.
This is just a little turntable, and it helps me look at things to see if they're leaning like the Leaning Tower of Pisa or if they're straight.
Okay, and you eyeball it, is that correct? Nice. That's how I
And
cook.
some of them are kind of funky when they get done. Some of them do lean. I've been finding that it's fun to do mugs with an oval bottom and a round top, or oval top and round bottom, just because I'm not throwing it on the wheel. It might as well look different. This is one of my favorite rolling pins because it makes such beautiful texture on things. And just the broken pieces add to that.
Oh.
They make it even better. So I love old vintage tools that have been used before, and then I get them and reuse them and give them a new home.
Yes. And then what do you do about a signature? Oh, show me this piece as well.
This one I have not gotten to use yet. It is a new piece, so but I think it makes really nice texture.
Do you ever use a piece of crocheted
Every now and
cotton?
then. Every now and then, because I have a bowl that I did a bowl for my sister that I used a doily in and pressed it in, and so then I used like dark blue glaze and then wipe that back out so that it's just down in the indentations from the doily.
Yes.
And then use a light glaze that you can see through to put over it. So then you can see all of the parts of the doily.
Okay. Okay. And what do you do to distinguish your work from others? What is your signature on your work?
And that's a good question, because I mean sometimes I get kind of experimental, but mostly is using old vintage things or drawing on it, and then I like to leave a lot of bare clay on the outside because I think it's prettier than if I put clear on it. And so most of these things, you know, if you can see the color of the clay, then there's no glaze where you can see the clay.
Do you have a piece like that over there today?
Oh, let's see. This one is, you know, where all the colors are. That's glazed, and this is glazed up at the top. It's called black walnut, so it is dark, but the rest of all the background is just bare clay.
Fabulous. I love that.
So
and look at how different that side is. Let it do a fashion show. Nice.
And this piece right here comes from one of these Japanese cake molds. Not this particular one, but I have one that looks like part of a fish.
Oh.
And so I did it thin and basically just attached that first, and then I drew the rest of the fish just for fun.
What do you do for inspiration?
Sometimes I just start thinking about things, and I think sometimes the Lord brings things to mind, and I mean there are times that I will look at a piece of clay and go, okay, Lord, what do I need to do with this? And usually some kind of answer comes to mind.
A lot of artists say that, and that's the relationship we have either with, our God or our spirituality or our identity with ourself and our creativity.
Well, I feel like, God made man in his image, and that means he made us creative too. Because he created all these beautiful things I see that inspire me.
Yes, yes, very good. So you came here today to do a demonstration, and what's the plan with what we're looking at here today?
Well, these 3 pieces will eventually be one of those bowls with the chopsticks.
Okay.
And I should have cut a pattern for the bottom, but I didn't. So generally what I do is I put them together and then I set it on the other piece of clay and draw around it and cut out a bottom for it.
Okay.
And just attach everything together. So,
Have you ever taught a class either here at the Guild or
no,
you've never?
I am no good at teaching. I mean, maybe one-on-one I can kind of tell somebody how to do something. I know what I'm doing, but trying to explain it to anybody else is something I'm not good at.
Yeah, there's a process to that, step by step. Here's
Because
step
it's
one.
a talent to teach, too.
Yes, it is.
Basically, I feel like it's a talent I have not got.
Okay, I can understand
My
that.
sister is extremely good at teaching, and she taught junior high English for years. But it is not a talent that I've got.
Wow. And are you local? We're here in Ridgeland. Are you
I
local?
grew up in Jackson.
Okay.
And, moved away after I got married. Lived in Augusta 4 years, and have lived in Dothan for 30-some years.
Oh, so you
So
came.
LA, Lower Alabama.
So you came here from Alabama today?
But my sister
Wow.
lives here, so I have a good place to stay.
Oh, that's fabulous. We are members, the Craftsmen's Guild members are from mostly around from the Mississippi area, but from around the region as well, and as far away as California. This is great.
Yeah, now I jokingly say LA for Lower Alabama.
Yes.
So,
That's funny. That's new to me.
because it's down near Florida, near the Florida Panhandle.
Yes.
And near Georgia. So.
Have you ever included, I know you have your clay that has been prepped and everything. Have you ever experimented with adding something to your clay or creating, we have red clay in Mississippi. I don't know what kind of clay is in
haven't done
Louisiana.
that, but I saw some beautiful pieces Connor Burns had done where he had sieved his own red clay and used it for the outside of a bowl. And I told him it was sacred and I wasn't going to eat out of it, and then I found out it was perfect for oatmeal, so I'm afraid that I have just taken really good care of it. And then I go put it back on the bookcase after I eat oatmeal out of it, and I've washed it and dried it.
Talking about oatmeal, I wonder if anybody's ever put any oatmeal or beans or anything like that into their clay. Have you ever put any item in your clay?
No, honestly, I think I've been afraid to. I haven't really thought about it.
See, I'm stirring up something inside of you. New
Yeah,
possibilities.
I admit I don't want anything to explode in the kiln.
Oh, that's a good point. See, I'm not aware of that sort of thing, but now that you mention it, that's right. There's an element of understanding that goes into firing your work in a kiln. You have to understand something scientific about how the temperature is going to relate to the elements that go.
And I'm still learning on that. I've got a lot to learn, but I've heard that you need to give it time to heat up slowly so that it can, if there is natural material in there, it can kind of let the air out before it messes up your pot or your glaze.
Yes.
And so out of an abundance of caution, I tend to preheat for hours before it actually starts firing. In part because where I had my things fired, things were starting to explode, and it was because her kiln was heating up too fast.
Oh.
Because something had gone wrong with it. So I'm kind of going the other direction and probably preheating for too long
Yes.
to make up for that.
Tell me about the smallest piece you've created and the largest piece you've created.
My pieces don't get very big. That vase is probably, I've done a little taller than that. But Okay, I guess the biggest piece that I've done was an urn for my mom's ashes, and I need to do one for my dad's ashes, but I haven't done that yet.
You know, Robert Pickenpaw of Pickenpaw Pottery in Madison talked about making the urns for the crematory ashes. And I think that's an item a lot of people would be interested in. I have my mother's ashes, but I don't have them. I thought they would just give me an urn, and they mailed me the ashes in a
I've
box.
got the basic plastic box, and I was probably crazy because I actually did mine to fit around the plastic box.
Oh.
And it looks like kind of like a big canister, and it's got ginkgo leaves on it because I knew she loved ginkgo leaves.
The leaves grow mostly like up in Tupelo, Aberdeen, North Mississippi
I've
versus.
actually got a ginkgo tree in my yard.
Do you really?
And the reason it grew was because the porta potty guy ran over it twice. We were having our house added on to, and I decorated the porta potty the entire time. I said, if it's going to be here for a year, I might as well decorate it.
Oh my gosh.
So my poor children, my daughter was so embarrassed because she was ninth grade. She was at that age where moms embarrass their daughters a lot. And boy, did I embarrass her by decorating that thing.
Yes.
At one time, it just had the names of different porta potty companies all over it.
Well, Laurie, how does all this affect your hands? You know, you're touching this clay, and I can't even imagine that's like. But what do you do to keep your hands ladylike?
Every now and then they get a little bit of lotion. Mostly they just get washed because sometimes they end up with some funny colors on them and lots of dirt. And so I tell the cat I have to go wash my hands before I can feed her. You know.
So you're a diehard. You really get down into the nitty gritty of this clay, and you become one with it.
I tell people that I don't really dust as much as I should, but I make dust. And I do.
Yeah. Do you have a studio in your home?
I do. I'm so lucky because when we added onto the house years ago, part of that was to give me a studio. So I have enough space for a kick wheel, which I do enjoy using when I finally get on it. And then I've got another section where I can cut mats because I do framing occasionally. I still like to draw and do calligraphy, so I've got my dad's old drafting table that he built.
Oh, nice.
And then I've got a table that rolls that I do glazing on, and I have a cat from a studio supervisor, and she hops up in my lap when I'm glazing.
Oh, your supervisor.
You know, she's checking out the glaze, and so then I have to get one of my popsicle sticks and throw it on the floor for her so she'll quit getting in my glaze and
Yes.
supervise from afar instead of too near.
Wonderful. What else would you like for us to know about you and your work?
I'm not sure. It's just, I feel like it's a blessing. It's been good therapy for me, and my husband says it's cheaper than a psychiatrist.
Oh, did he say that? He's all in. He's all in. Fabulous.
He is a wonderful supporter, and he writes short stories, and I do pottery, so he's just up above in his office working on his short stories some of the time when he's working, part-time, so he's not retired yet. He's doing like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. But it's nice that we can both support each other.
That's
with
right.
our creative efforts.
And you mostly make bowls and vessels.
Mostly, mugs are my favorite. I love to do pitchers, vases, and bowls. I've tried a few platters. I'm still working on that because they are more likely to crack. So I've had a little more trouble with those than I have with other.
I see. Now, how can someone get in touch with you or learn more about your work? They can certainly come here to the Craftsmen's Guild.
And I'm on Facebook. It's just my regular Facebook page. The pottery, though, I usually do as a public post.
Okay, and this is under Laurie Key.
Yeah, it's LaurieKey.
Wonderful. Are you on any other social media platforms?
Not really. I'm not real tech savvy, and I waste too much time on eBay and Etsy, which is where all the tools came from.
Oh, do you do Pinterest, by the way? That's just,
I'm afraid to.
it's like crack cocaine.
Well, I spend too much time on the computer as it is, and so I refuse to start Pinterest because I know I'll get in trouble and I won't get any art done. I'll just sit on the computer.
Oh, yeah, I've kind of narrowed it down so I'm not sucked in all day and all night. I know what I want to look at and what I want to. I think I have a great, what do you call it, bulletin board of curated things to look at by way of creativity. Well, this has been just fabulous. I love all of your work. I think I'm going to go and can I buy this bowl?
Certainly.
Anyway, everyone, come on over to the Craftsmen's Guild. I can't resist. And we want to just thank Laurie Key for being a great interview today. Oh, I love it's like a Stein almost. Yeah. So yeah, come on over to the Craftsmen's Guild and look at that. We see some of the natural, and there's a signature on that one. So thank you so much, Laurie, and I hope you have a great day.
Oh, thank you.